Did prehistoric humans lie before they could even speak? Here's the uncomfortable answer. Probably yes. And that changes everything you thought you knew about honesty, language, and what it actually means to be human. Picture this. 200,000 years ago, somewhere on the African savanna, a small band of early humans huddles around a fire. No words are spoken, not the kind you and I use anyway, but something is happening between them. A gesture, a false alarm call, a hand pointing at nothing, meant to send a rival scrambling toward danger that doesn't exist. If that sounds impossible without language, stick around, because the science says otherwise, and it's stranger than fiction. Let's start with a question that sounds almost silly at first. Can you lie without words? Most of us assume deception is a verbal art. You need vocabulary to twist the truth, right? You need sentences to construct a false narrative. But researchers who study animal behavior and human evolution have found something unsettling. Deception doesn't require language at all. It requires something much older, much deeper, and far more primal: theory of mind. That's the ability to understand that another creature has a different set of beliefs than you do, and that you can manipulate what's inside their head without ever opening your mouth. Think about that for a second. To lie, you don't need words. You need to understand that someone else doesn't know what you know. And once a creature figures that out, deception becomes not just possible, it becomes almost inevitable. Now here's where it gets wild. Scientists studying primates, our closest living relatives, have documented deception again and again in the wild. Chimpanzees have been observed suppressing their excitement when they find food, staying quiet and calm so other members of the group don't notice, only to sneak back later once everyone else has wandered off. That's not an accident. That's strategic concealment. That's a lie told entirely through behavior, through stillness, through the absence of a signal. Vervet monkeys take it even further. These small African primates have distinct alarm calls for different predators, one for eagles, one for snakes, one for leopards. Each call triggers a different escape behavior. Researchers have documented individual monkeys giving a false alarm call, say the eagle call, when there's no eagle in sight, simply to scatter the group and grab a piece of food someone else was about to eat. That's manipulation through communication, without a shred of grammar, vocabulary, or spoken language as we understand it. So if monkeys can do this, if chimpanzees can do this, doesn't it stand to reason that early hominins, the ancestors who came before Homo sapiens, the Homo erectus, the Homo habilis, the countless branches of our family tree stretching back millions of years, doesn't it stand to reason they were doing it too? Not just capable of deception, but practically built for it. Here's the theory that's gaining traction among evolutionary psychologists and anthropologists. Deception may not be a byproduct of intelligence. It may be one of the driving forces behind it. There's a hypothesis called the Machiavellian intelligence hypothesis, and it proposes something radical: that the primate brain, including the human brain, ballooned in size not primarily to solve environmental puzzles like finding food or building tools, but to navigate the endlessly complex social chess match of group living. Who's an ally? Who's a threat? Who's lying to you right now? And crucially, how you can lie to them and get away with it. Deception, in this view, is an arms race. If one member of a group develops a slightly better ability to trick others out of food, mates, or status, that individual gains an advantage. But that pressure doesn't stop there. It forces everyone else to get better at detecting deception, which forces the deceivers to get more sophisticated, which forces the detectors to sharpen further still. Round and round it goes, generation after generation, and the byproduct of that endless arms race is bigger brains, sharper social instincts, and yes, better liars. Now let's bring this back to prehistoric humans specifically, the ones without spoken language as we'd recognize it. Before complex speech evolved, and there's ongoing debate about exactly when that happened, whether it was gradual over hundreds of thousands of years or emerged more suddenly, early humans still had rich nonverbal toolkits. Facial expressions, body posture, gesture, eye contact, or the deliberate avoidance of it. Every one of these channels can carry a lie just as easily as it can carry the truth. Imagine an early hunter who spots a wounded gazelle but doesn't want to share the kill with his whole group. He could feign disinterest. He could look away from the trail, walk in the wrong direction on purpose, let his body language broadcast boredom while his mind is racing with the location of an easy meal he plans to claim later, alone. No words required. Just a masterclass in physical misdirection. Or imagine a woman gathering food who wants to protect a particularly rich patch of berries from the rest of her group. She could return home acting fatigued, communicating through slumped shoulders and a slow gait that the day's foraging was fruitless, all while knowing exactly where the bounty is hidden. That's deception through performance. That's lying with your entire body as the instrument. There's even evidence in the archaeological and anthropological record that hints at strategic concealment. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies, communities whose lifestyles are thought to resemble, in some ways, those of our distant ancestors, have documented individuals hiding food caches from other group members, misleading rivals about hunting grounds, and using false signals during conflicts to gain the upper hand. If people living today in societies with minimal material technology but full complex language still show these deceptive survival strategies, it's not a stretch to imagine that these behaviors run far deeper than language itself. Language didn't invent lying. Language just gave lying a new, more powerful weapon. And that raises a fascinating and slightly unsettling possibility. What if lying is actually older than truth-telling as a deliberate act? What if the earliest form of communication wasn't about accurately sharing information at all, but about influencing behavior, sometimes accurately, sometimes not, in whatever way benefited the signaler most? Under that framing, honest communication is almost a special case, a cooperative agreement that emerged because most of the time it was mutually beneficial for group survival, but the capacity to deviate from it, to bend a signal for personal gain, was baked in from the very beginning. This changes how we should think about honesty altogether. We tend to imagine truth as the default state of communication, with lies as a corruption of it, a deviation, something added later once humans got clever and started using words to manipulate each other. But if deception predates spoken language, if it's present in monkeys, in apes, in the earliest branches of the human family tree, then honesty isn't the baseline. Honesty is the achievement. It's the fragile, cooperative agreement layered on top of a much older, much more selfish instinct to manipulate whoever's watching. Consider also what this means for trust itself. Trust had to evolve alongside deception as a kind of countermeasure. Early humans who could read micro-expressions, who could sense hesitation in a companion's gaze, who could detect the subtle stiffness of a body trying too hard to look relaxed, those individuals survived better. They weren't fooled by the false alarm call. They didn't get cheated out of their share of the kill. And so natural selection sharpened both sides of this ancient duel simultaneously, the liars getting subtler, the detectors getting sharper, locked together in an evolutionary dance that never really ends. Even today, this dance shapes our daily lives more than we realize. Studies on modern human communication suggest a huge percentage of what we express to one another happens through nonverbal channels: tone, posture, facial microexpressions. The very same channels our early ancestors relied on exclusively. When someone tells you they're fine, but their shoulders are tense and their eyes won't meet yours, you're witnessing the exact same ancient conflict that played out around campfires hundreds of thousands of years before